The story so far is the exact same as last time.
This book has to go somewhere other than Jake getting into a fight, beating everyone, getting reprimanded but not quite expelled, and then getting into a fight. Fortunately, we now get a sneak peek at one of Antifa's meetings. Their main point of discussion is how strong Jake is.
Rivers is gonna be a problem. We need to take that son of a bitch out.
He's just one man. I don't see how he can do any real damage to the plan.
One dangerous man.
If somebody's gonna die, I want to make sure it's at best Rivers.
We've gone after him twice just to test him and find out how much of a badass he really is.
So these are the guys that attacked him, and they were assessing his threat level in advance of their upcoming raid. And in a small few paragraphs, they murder Calton's entire groundskeeping crew and steal their outfits. Yeah. We don't yet know their goal, but they're disdainful to Calton's snowflake students.
They're about to learn a valuable lesson.
What's that?
In a world of wolves, there are no safe spaces.
And they're armed. But school shootings don't happen, do they? It's been mentioned how Jake had heard that Antifa, though mostly clueless kids, had terrorist cells funded by liberal money amongst them, which would sound pretty stupid if he weren't always right about everything. So what's Jake been doing? Yep, another fight. He brushes shoulders with someone who says,
"Watch where you're going, Nazi."
What was that?
I told you to watch where you're going, and then I told you what you are, a Nazi.
He was wearing a black t-shirt with #resist and #fascism printed across it. That popular social justice #fascism. There was also the word history with an arrow underneath it. It doesn't say which way the arrow was pointing.
Hey, I wasn't done talking to you.
But I'm done talking to you, snowflake.
That's hate speech. He attacked me with his words. I don't feel safe.
Which is how you respond when someone calls you a snowflake. It was all Jake could do not to turn around quickly and pop the guy. He didn't figure it would take any more than one punch. In fact, that punch might well break his jaw. Seriously, Jake, calm it with the references to how you could kill people if you wanted to. It's not as attractive as you think. So very shortly after saying,
"We've had enough of your aggression,"
that guy approaches Jake from behind and tries to punch him. And Jake does that Ubermensch thing where you catch the fist and kind of squeeze it.
Oh, balls.
Jake does a long speech to the kids holding smartphones. He just wanted the truth to get out there so people could see it and make up their own minds. The left didn't want the truth getting out. The book keeps going on these non-diegetic tantrums about the left. I don't want to just read you the whole book in a sarcastic voice, but there's no other way to express these bits. To them, the liberal elite was smarter than anyone else, so they should be the ones to tell people what to think and do. And liberals always included themselves in that elite. The liberal elite. Without it ever occurring to them that if the communists or Islamists took over, they would be the first against the wall. Luckily, the right only put, Bannon, Pence, and Trump in the White House. You know, keeping it safe and moderate. I have to presume that these asides are in Jake's brain. So he's been thinking about the foolishness of the left for quite a while now, and all the while, he's got this guy's fist. Jake had squeezed hard enough to make bones grind together in the guy's hand. But he hadn't broken anything. I bet he could if he wanted to, though, right? So Jake leaves this snowflake melting on the floor and coolly saunters out. What a man.
"Hey, Rivers, I got that whole thing on my phone. Idiots like that couldn't win a fight against you on their best day. He just let himself get carried away by his politics and the belief that being on the so-called right side of history makes you invulnerable. It doesn't. Nobody's invulnerable,"
said the real person. This is Pierce, a rich black kid. It's useful when you can write what black people think. We'll chat back with him in a bit. Jake really likes calling things bull, and whilst he describes himself as a conservative, shows contempt for politics in general and wishes it would just leave him alone. This is a really ignorant stance. Jake has enough privilege to not really care how other people are treated. You know what? Me too. It's cool to want to live without obstacles from others, but not everyone gets to. And Jake is written to have those who care about the oppressed as his enemy. The real enemy is the oppression itself. Now, of course, Jake's minor altercation there immediately becomes big news on the internet, with titles like Neo-Nazi Rant, Far-Right Extremist Goes on Rampage, and Bigot. They knew that if they pointed at something and cried, "bigot," their followers would believe them unquestioningly. I can't contest this because this book is set in a world in which this is true. Apparently, Jake's fights, in which he's never the initiator and acts only in a calm self-defense, can be recorded in a way that makes him look like the aggressor. Somehow Pierce's video is the one perspective where Jake looks innocent. That's helpful. Right, Natalie's turn. You haven't had dinner yet, have you?
No, it's barely past the time when the old people go to eat.
So they're driving to this steakhouse with Natalie giving directions. Not that he really needed them. He knew he could have relied on his innate sense of direction to find the place.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man.
What is with this insistence on being completely independent? The Johnstone franchise has a history of westerns, and Jake's clearly written within the lone cowboy framework. They forgot to even give him a non-cowboy name. Jake is really proud of his individualist skills. He can get anywhere and kill anyone he wants to. The steakhouse is used as an excuse to go on about good old traditional stuff. People mistake having simple tastes for having no taste. They don't understand that there's always a reason certain things are always popular, like steak. And segregation! Jake paid for the meal, and Natalie didn't really seem to mind. The college campus was covered with toxic, persistent, victimhood-seeking feminism, but Natalie was clearly okay with some gender-stereotypical impulses, like when they held hands. On the second kiss, not the first kiss when this might have been reasonable, Jake quips,
I'm sorry I didn't ask your permission to do that.
"Don't be. Let's forget about all those ridiculous, politically correct guidelines. There comes a time between a man and a woman when none of that garbage matters." Jake almost said something about how she was being awfully heterocentric there. But then he realized she was right. It's good when you realize something's right. There were some things bureaucracies just couldn't make rules against, and what he was feeling now was one of them.
Hey, facts don't care about your feelings.
Okay, let's check on Pierce. He's shown with his girlfriend, a raving sjw, raving, of course, about how bigoted Jake is. And sensible Pierce is defending Jake and starting to doubt his liberal indoctrination. You see, Pierce had written a paper on voter fraud, and he found that in virtually all cases, the fraud was in favor of the Democrats. The left liked to talk about Republican voter suppression, but again, the only instances of voter suppression he found were against the Republicans. Pierce goes to his study group. And here she is, the feminist, chunky, purple-haired Marjorie. She never looked happy. She was perpetually outraged. The study group consists of old reliable Pierce, outrage addict Marjorie, Fareed, whose personality is Islam, a washed-up, once pretty girl ruined by liberalism, and a pathetic, nerdy boy who's there to win social status. Their studying consists mainly of talking about Jake. Nothing can be allowed to distract from the narrative. You know that. Jake Rivers is evil and must be driven from our midst. It's how Fareed apparently actually talks.
I'm the black guy, remember?
That felt more like the author reminding themselves than any part of the actual conversation.
You should hate him just because he's white.
Will this be on the test? When Pierce suggests studying for the test, he's told,
"Tests are aggressions. Just another way for the patriarchy to keep oppressing us."
This is the perfect moment for a testicle pun, but the author just isn't that sophisticated. Pierce was suspicious of Fareed. When the day came, if Fareed had his way, the infidels would all be slaughtered. The hot girl and maybe even the feminist would be raped to death for the glory of Allah. Pierce is pretty well set up for a political awakening. He's got the hatred down just perfect. Meanwhile, Chief McRaney goes to visit his friend, the groundskeeper. Next time. Hey Jake, what are you having for dinner?
It's Bull.